Hey, RetconRaider here. Today's episode is dedicated to AdriRaven, who you may know better as our newest crusader, Dame Adriana. She's still got a long way to go before she catches up with the rest of our crusaders, but we'll be working on that today. Anyway, thanks for your support, AdriRaven. That said, let's get started. Much as with the rambling prophet who had once lurked in the ruins, our attempts to make contact with the wizened old hag in the woods had ended in blood. The rumors, as outlandish and colorful as they had seemed, were apparently true. She had been monstrous in both form and appetite. I'm thankful now that I had the foresight to send Rowan along with the others, because her brand of aggressive negotiation was just what the party needed. It's just unfortunate that the fight dragged on long enough to result in some rather dreadful injuries. Carol seemed particularly dour as the other sisters tended to her burns. She met with me later, perhaps to show that there were no hard feelings, but at the same time her ulterior motives were quite clear. She had been growing increasingly uncomfortable with some of my decisions as of late, and I could hardly blame her for that. Still, I was only doing what was absolutely necessary given the circumstances. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. Thankfully, there seemed to be no shortage of distractions around the hamlet to keep me from dwelling on things for too long. A small caravan had arrived, this time carrying a performing troupe of exotic dancers who leapt and twirled about in borderline indecent costumes. The townsfolk seemed enthralled by their dancing, and even the recruits who weren't swayed by the erotic display seemed to enjoy the jaunty music being played by the masked performers. Of course, as with most visitors, they didn't stay for long. At least, most of them didn't. When the caravan left, two people remained behind, a dark-clad troubadour and a dour Eastern academic. The first introduced himself with a melodramatic flourish, announcing himself as Lurkus, the Toot Lord. It was a childish title, but what more could one expect from a jester? He introduced his companion in a similarly absurd fashion, presenting him under the no doubt fictitious title of Commissar Moody. The academic hardly seemed amused by his antics, but at the same time he declined to correct him, instead making it clear that he had heard of our need for more learned individuals. I quickly welcomed him aboard, and as for his companion, Lurkus, well, I had the distinct impression that he would be staying, whether I liked it or not. The Commissar wasted no time in making himself useful. He was a self-proclaimed expert in matters concerning the Blight, the strange affliction that two of my other recruits seemed to suffer from. Much as we had with the Crimson Curse, the Commissar was convinced that we could use this unique condition to our advantage. He proposed an expedition into the Warrens, believing that the monstrous pigmen who lived there were afflicted with a similar disease. I quickly assembled a team to accompany him into those monster-infested tunnels. Dame Adriana would lead the way, cutting a swath through the beasts so that the Commissar could gather his samples in relative peace. Wojtek would help them navigate the tunnels, and Mikad the Unlucky volunteered to tag along as well, ostensibly to keep their spirits up, though his array of expertly honed blades belied his true intentions. It was a simple mission, at least in theory, and another possible source of a cure to one of the many unnatural diseases that were plaguing us. Besides, even if the Commissar's research went nowhere, what was the harm in killing a few more monsters?
They breed quickly down there in the dark, but perhaps we can slay them even faster.
Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to episode 23. Today we're on a pretty basic mission. Our goal is to find some loot and to get some quick experience points for some of our lower level recruits. Anyway, before we get started, let's take a quick look at our heroes. Dame Adriana. Wojtek the Bear. Mikad the Unlucky. Commissar Moody. Alright, let's get moving. It actually looks like we have a lot of hall fights ahead of us. I guess we'll start with this one offshoot passage here.
Such blockages are unsurprising. These tunnels predate even the earliest settlers.
Okay. A lot of stress damagers, but nothing too hard to take down. These slashers can do a lot of damage, but they're pretty easy to kill.
Be gone, fiend.
And the swine are just irritating. Come on, Wajtek. Hold it together.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
Come on, really? Syphilis is one of the worst diseases in the game.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms. Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Well, that definitely could have gone better, but as usual, it could have gone a whole lot worse, too.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
We're already starting to get stressed out, and poor Mikot got stuck with syphilis, but at least we didn't take much damage. Okay, we've got another hall fight ahead of us. Let's hope it's nothing too bad. Of course, it had to be vampires. Still better than fighting mini-bosses, though.
Eradicated.
So much for the gatekeeper. Okay, now the supplicants. Annoying. We'll take care of that in a moment.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Very nice. I guess Wajtek is taking this personally. Let's toss out some healing. Yikes. We really need to do something about that.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken. Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
That actually wasn't too bad. Now that I know how they fight, it's actually a lot easier to take down vampires without being infected.
Finding the stuff
Though it
only
is
the
still
first
pretty
test
heavily reliant on the
be
RNG.
carried home.
We've got another hall fight ahead, and then a room fight right after that. Let's see how this goes. Well, this is definitely nothing to worry about.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Alright, now we've got a real fight ahead of us. Definitely tougher, but nothing we can't handle. Unfortunate. Well, we don't really need healing right now anyway. The Cutthroat's about to drop, so maybe we should start focusing on the Fusilier instead. Then again, the Bloodletter's half dead already.
A death by inches.
Nice.
Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
Let's see if we can get some healing in. Fatally stunned. Poor guy.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Okay, so we've got at least one more room fight around here somewhere. Let's keep looking.
Packs laden with loot are often low on supplies.
I guess we could dump the holy water. Not bad. I think that's actually more than enough food to get everyone healed back to full.
Watch your step.
And of course, we walk into a trap right afterwards. That's Darkest Dungeon for you. Ah, here we go. I'm not crazy about fighting more vampires, but hopefully this is the last fight of the dungeon. I'd really like to prioritize those supplicants whenever possible. Gross. No blight, though. Okay, I think we need to heal here. I would like to go for that other supplicant, but we really need to get this sycophant out of the way first. There we go. Okay, we've pretty much won the fight at this point. We just need to take care of the sycophants. Very nice. About time we saw a critical heal. Okay, Watchdeck, calm down.
Destroyed. As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Whoops. Okay, well, I guess I kind of wasted that blood, but whatever. We're sticking around to clear the rest of the dungeon anyway. We are running with a pretty low-level group here, but I think we're in good enough condition to risk going dark for the rest of the run.
And now, the darkness holds dominion. Black as death.
Ah. Well, that's the kind of fight I was hoping to avoid, but hopefully we'll be fine. Gatekeeper first. Oh, so close to a one-hit kill. Uh-oh. Well, no one's getting infected, but they are chewing us up pretty badly.
Obliterated.
Nice. Watchdeck definitely has a grudge against vampires.
Foolish horrors, brought low and driven into the mud.
That was unpleasant, but at least the loot was pretty good. Okay, moving on.
Cruel machinations spring to life with a singular purpose.
Ah, and of course we're out of holy water. And Mikad the Unlucky continues to live up to his name. At least it's not as bad as syphilis. There goes the last of our food. And there's another trap.
ambushed by foul invention.
Out of food and out of bandages, but at least that frees up more space for treasure. We've just got one more hallway to go, so let's finish this. There we go. That was worth sticking around for. I guess we'll try to clear one of Wojtek's quirks. Well, not the one I was hoping to get rid of, but certainly better than nothing. Anyway, let's head home.
Their squeals fade. Their confidence is shaken.
Not bad. But I think we'll go for something a little more challenging next time. While I awaited the party's return, I busied myself with the usual array of mundane tasks around the hamlet. With the roads cleared, a steady trickle of new arrivals had continued to flow into the hamlet, and the latest caravan had brought a wagon of down-on-their-luck laborers with it. While I didn't have any particular need of their services at the moment, they were eager to prove their worth. Before long, I had haggled them down to accepting a mere pittance for their first assignment, and before much longer, I had them renovating some of the more decrepit old rooms and corridors of the sanitarium. Although the Vestal sisters may not have appreciated my methods, they certainly didn't complain about the results. Especially after those brand new renovations were put to almost immediate use, as our latest expedition returned from the Warrens. Mikad was quick to check himself into the sanitarium for medical treatment, but it took me some time to track down the rest of the party. Wojtek had staked out a table at the tavern and was already in the midst of a rousing game of cards when I found him. He was as terse as ever, simply acknowledging that the job was done. If I wanted more than that, I would need to check with the man who had actually led the expedition. I caught up with the commissar in the abbey, where he had secured one of the cells in the cloister for his own private use. He seemed annoyed by my intrusion, but spared a moment from his ruminations to explain that his findings were still indeterminate. He promised to deliver a thorough report once he had been given proper time to ponder on what he had discovered. While I certainly didn't appreciate his attitude, I was quickly sidetracked as I was summoned to the recruit barracks. There, several of the recruits complained about a crazed man who had apparently taken it upon himself to occupy one of the few remaining bunks. He was quite a sight, a muscular behemoth of a man, wrapped in rust-red garb and blood-stained spikes. He resisted all of my efforts to displace him, loudly insisting that he was exactly where he needed to be. Eventually, I decided to leave well enough alone and simply instructed the other recruits to give the crazed man a wide berth. When I returned to my private lodgings, I found the commissar's report waiting for me, just as the academic had promised. It was quite dense and informative, though a bit too prone to lingering on speculation and theory. Still, there were some rather intriguing findings, perhaps not related to his theories about the Blight, but at least in regards to the pigmen. The commissar's party had discovered an entrance to an even deeper series of tunnels that ran beneath the Warrens, but they had stopped short of actually exploring them. The deeper they had traveled, the greater the resistance, similar to what some of the recruits had described in the ruins. But there, we knew that a necromancer had been to blame. What could possibly be waiting for us at the bottom of the Warrens? My curiosity got the better of me, and I quickly assembled a team to find out. I called upon some of my most capable recruits, Fox and Bunny, Alistair Gardwin, and the most reliable of all my researchers, Rowan Church. He had been rather bitter as of late, ever since Henrik's death had derailed our research into the Crimson Curse, but I hoped that a new project might help keep the Plague Doctor otherwise occupied. They were to explore those strange new tunnels, adding to the notes that the Commissar had already collected, and hopefully shedding some light on the source of the mutants infesting the Warrens. Still, there was no small amount of risk involved. After all, the surface tunnels were already dangerous enough. Who knew what other horrors might be waiting for them, deep beneath the earth?